Hello there, I hope you're having a great day, and in this video I'm going to be talking about E3 2021. I'm going to give you my 7 highlights from E3. Now, it was a digital event this time round because of the pandemic obviously, but there were still loads and loads of great games to get excited about. I'm going to give you my top 7 picks from E3. Now that might sound a bit strange, normally people do like top 10s, but I didn't want to just add in ones for the sake of it. I mean, there were some sort of honorary mentions in here, like Forza, the car racing game from Microsoft, that does look really, really good. The flight simulator as well from Microsoft, I mean, that's been going, gosh, I don't know how long, before even Windows was invented. It's been around so long, but people still enjoy those flight simulators. I'm not a big fan of them myself, but you know, I have dabbled in the past. But yeah, I'm not really going to be playing that. I'm not really going to be playing Forza. Now there's also Battlefield 2042, that looks really impressive. It's got these tornadoes in the gaming environment, it's like 120 odd players. I hope the servers are good. And all this physics and all these players, it looks really exciting to play these big skyscrapers, and it's a like cross-gen, cross-platform game. So yeah, it does look interesting, but I'm not really a big Battlefield guy. I may dabble with it at some point, but I'm just going to stick with the 7 games that I really am interested in playing. Okay, so here we go. In at number 7 is Replaced. Now this is an indie title. I do love a good indie game. I remember playing like Fairs, Braid, The Witness, that's a really good one. Super Meat Boy, that's one of the best platform games you can play. So I really love a good indie game. I love supporting indie developers and buying their games. And a lot of people talk about innovation in the industry and the lack of innovation. But when it comes to the indie scene, there's so much innovation, it's ridiculous. I've been around a long time and played loads of games. And I can tell you now that there's just as much innovation today as there's ever been. You just got to look in the right places. Now, Replaced really caught my eye. It looks beautiful. It uses a pixel art style, and it's kind of like a retro sci-fi game. It's 2.5D, which basically means it is a 3D game, but they present it to you like in a 2D sort of platformer format. And visually it's really striking, lots of animation, lots of effects. The colour palettes are really strong and vibrant. It's kind of set in like an alternate 1980s, and I grew up in the 1980s, so that really sort of struck a chord with me. There's even a little section where you can see like arcade machines in the background. Now that gets me every time. I grew up playing arcade games. It definitely looks like it's got platformer elements to it. There's combat involved, quite visceral combat, so I definitely think it's more of a mature game. There's a lot of platforming involved by the looks of it. If the game plays half as good as it looks, it's going to be something to watch out for. And what's quite novel about it is you play it as an artificial intelligence that's trapped inside a human body. Normally the AI is normally like the bad guy, but this time you are the good guy. Now, Replaced is an Xbox exclusive. It's coming out on Game Pass 2022. So that's a bit disappointing if you're a PlayStation player like myself, but I'm still going to keep an eye on it and see the reviews. Now, number 6 on my list is Stalker 2, The Heart of Chernobyl. Now, the original Stalker was more of a PC game, and I've been PC games since like the 1990s. But yeah, Stalker 2 looks really good, really visually striking. It's kind of a dark, dystopian, sort of post-apocalyptic world. There's these Russian guys around a campfire talking in Russian, which I really like. That gives more sort of gritty authenticness to it. And it's a survival horror game. If you're familiar with my channel, you know I love survival horror. Now, in this sort of Chernobyl zone, this sort of dead zone where obviously there's all this radioactivity and there's this phenomena going on there. There's all these sort of crazy people. There's a guy that's sort of dancing around it at one point. So there's a lot of mocap that's obviously been used in this game. The guns look really powerful. They show really powerful guns. It could be the most powerful one in the game. Hopefully there's more like it. Now again, this does seem to be an Xbox exclusive, coming on free on Game Pass. So again, if you're a PlayStation owner like myself, a bit disappointing, but I'm still again going to keep an eye on it. Hopefully maybe it will come to PlayStation, or maybe I'll get to play it on PC at some point if I upgrade my PC. I'm not sure, but I'm really interested in it, so I'm going to keep a close eye on it. I hope it really does well. If you enjoyed Metro Exodus, I should definitely check it out. Now, number 5 on my list is actually a PlayStation exclusive. It's not a new game, it's the Death Stranding Director's Cut. Now, this kind of sneaked into E3. Yeah, I wasn't expecting this, I didn't know anything about it. I was like, what is this? I thought, more Death Stranding? Yes, I'm all for that. Exactly what we're going to get extra, we don't know yet. It's kind of like a little teaser trailer, but it did look like very Metal Gear Solid. And you see Sam like pretending he's going to get into a box and sort of do a bit of stealth, but of course he can't do that because of copyright infringement. I'm sure Konami wouldn't be too pleased about that because they still own the copyright to Metal Gear Solid. So he doesn't actually use the box to sort of sneak around. But yeah, it does look very Metal Gear Solid to me, like you're going to more internal structures and do a bit of sneaking, just like in Metal Gear Solid, trying to avoid the guards. I know some people didn't really like the Stranding. It's kind of like a love it or hate it game. I'm definitely in the love it. I did a review on it. I highly rate it. I think it's a brilliant game. A work of genius for Kojima. I'm kind of hoping it'll be a free update for everyone that's got Death Stranding, but I think that's wishful thinking on my part. I think you're probably going to have to pay for the game again, and there'll probably be like the really expensive director's cut collector's edition, but they've got to make their money, fair enough, but I'm sure I'll pick it up and play it at some point. The one thing that really excites me about this director's cut is the actual dual sense controller of the PS5. I mean, that could work really well with Death Stranding. Death Stranding, a lot of it was about walking around with lots of stuff on your back, staggering around, losing your balance, and that's perfect for haptic feedback sort of sensors. I'll be really interested to see if they integrate that nicely. It could be really, really good and really add to the experience. It's almost as if Death Stranding was made for the DualSense. The haptics are like just perfect for that game. It's almost as if Kojima knew. Maybe he did. And the director's cut, he said it's coming soon. So how soon is soon? We'll have to wait and see. Okay, so in at number 4 is Zelda Breath of the Wild. It's the only Nintendo game on my list. But yeah, number 2, highly anticipated. The teaser trailer didn't show an awful lot, but it does look really, really good. You see Link floating down and sort of nice views of the landscape and a few monsters. So yeah, I mean, it does look really impressive. I haven't got a Switch, but the only reason I would ever want to buy one is for Zelda. And now there's 2 Zelda games. It gives me more a reason to get one. I couldn't really justify getting the Switch just for one game, just for Breath of the Wild. But if there's 2, then and the Switch comes down in price, maybe the older model comes down in price, maybe I'll take the plunge and get it. It's definitely on my bucket list. I definitely want to play the Zelda games on Switch 100%. They do look like just fantastic games. Zelda, I grew up playing those games. I adore the Zelda games. Nintendo, they know how to make fantastic games. Now that's coming out in 2022, obviously exclusive to Nintendo. Okay, so we're getting to the top of the list now. In at number 3, Outer Worlds 2. And that might be a surprise to some people. The first game, it did okay. It was well received. It wasn't the best game ever made, but it was really promising. That's the thing about it, that I thought that Obsidian, who made the game, didn't have a lot of money. They didn't have a lot of time and people to make it. But they were hardcore Fallout fans. You can see it when you play the game. Outer Worlds 2, I think it's kind of a sleeper hit. I think it's something that could be really amazing. I think given enough money, Obsidian, with the talent and the dedication and that love, that passion for that type of game, and I think they can make Outer Worlds 2 absolutely amazing. We never even got to see any gameplay or anything like that. We only got to see a trailer. But it was a really funny trailer. It was so self-aware. It made me laugh. It was so good. In fact, I'm just going to play it. Just roll the trailer. Just check this out.
We begin by hearing an old, wise-sounding voice. And we see a quiet, peaceful setting. This will make our game seem big and important. Now, something must break the serenity. Will this creature be in the game? No. Say goodbye to it forever. Suddenly, and for no reason, people running. These pointless slow-motion shots make everything seem cool and should bolster pre-sale numbers. That wah sound can mean only one thing. We must gaze over an epic shot of a world, and there should be lens flares. Now we see our hero but only their silhouette, because the developers haven't finished the design, or finished the story, or finished any gameplay that's actually ready to show. In fact, the only thing they have finished is the title.
Now, Obsidian have been bought out by Microsoft, so again, this is a Microsoft exclusive. I think it's going to be free on Game Pass. There isn't a release date, but people are guessing probably 2023, something like that, that it might be a ways off yet. But, you know, that's just a guess. But yeah, another compelling reason to get an Xbox. Everyone goes on about the value of Game Pass, the Microsoft Game Pass, and you just can't deny it. All these great games coming out for free, you know, as long as you've got the pass, you get to play them for free. You can't really argue with that value. Microsoft really are bringing it to Sony this time around. Okay, so number 2 on my list, Starfield. Bethesda, brand new IP. I think it's the first IP for like new IP for like 25 years, something like that. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. People have been highly anticipating this, and we finally got to look at it. Now, I saw the detail in the trailer, and I was amazed by the detail, and I thought to myself, yeah, it's just a pre-rendered trailer, but it does say that it is in-game footage. So that means that this is actually representative of what the game engine can produce. Well, hopefully they are not tricking us in any way. It has been known before, Fallout 76. Maybe this time it really is 4 times the detail, and Todd Howard's going to deliver for us. Now, Bethesda really did get a kick in the teeth with the release of Fallout 76. It was in a terrible state. There's videos all over the internet how bad it was. But I think they're going to bounce back from that. I think they know now with Starfield, they need to regain people's trust. They need to really double down, put the money and the work and the effort into it, and make it live up to people's expectations. It's going to be tough to do it, but looking at this trailer, I think they can. The amount of detail is just staggering. Just check this out.
They say, the wonder is, not that the field of stars is so vast, but that we have measured it. You're part of Constellation now. Part of our family. What you've found, it's the key to unlocking everything.
We reach your constellation.
This is all we've been working towards.
Jemison route looks good.
We've come to the beginning of humanity's final journey.
Prepare for departure. Graviton loop array full check. Your space lane is clear.
That's why we're here.
Main engines go. Ignition.
To discover what's out there.
Good luck, Constellation. You are go for launch.
So it is a really next-gen looking RPG. I'm sure it'd be just kind of like Fallout, but in space. I mean, how many planets we can actually go to, how many civilizations there are going to be, how much we're going to explore, how big the game is going to be, we'll have to wait and see. The trailer doesn't really sort of give much of an indication of that. But you've got to leave people wanting more. There's a lot more time to give us more videos and show us actual gameplay. I wasn't really that hyped for Starfield, maybe because of 76, but having seen this trailer, I am really hyped for it again. It's number 2 on my list. Now, if you were observant, you would have seen there was actually a little release date as well hidden in the trailer, 11th of the 11th, 22. So yeah, we're going to get it next year. Now, this is a Game Pass Xbox exclusive, of course, because as everybody knows, Microsoft had bought Bethesda for like $73 billion or some like outrageous, crazy amount of money. But that's how desperate Microsoft were to get some really hot titles for their system. Because last gen, Microsoft got destroyed by Sony with all Sony's exclusives. Sony just completely decimated them. Microsoft, I think, just gave up. You know, all they had was Halo, and I think they had a game called Ori that looked really good. Cuphead was an exclusive for a while, and I did actually really want to play that. But yeah, apart from like Forza and Halo, they really didn't have anything. And of course, with Halo Infinite getting slated, I mean, it just didn't look very good at all. Yeah, Microsoft were on the ropes. But now with the acquisition of Bethesda, you know, they've got Elder Scrolls, and everyone's going to want to play that. You've got, of course, Starfield, and of course, whatever Fallout games they come up with. Okay, you know, if we just disregard 76, but I'm sure they'll come back strong with a proper Fallout game. And actually, Fallout 76 is a lot better than it used to be. They've actually put NPCs into it, and they're still adding content to it. They didn't sort of just walk away from it. So, you know, you've got to give credit to Bethesda from that. They stuck with it. And actually, it's probably a decent game to play now. I should actually go back and give it another go. But one thing that does concern me, number 3 on my list, Outer Worlds 2, that is owned by Microsoft as well. Do Microsoft really need Outer Worlds 2 if they've got Fallout now? Are they kind of got competing with themselves on that? You know, because Outer Worlds 2 is very similar to Fallout, inspired by Fallout. I'm worried that Microsoft might think, oh, maybe we should merge the studios, maybe we don't need Outer Worlds. That would be a massive mistake. I really hope that Microsoft give Obsidian what they deserve, the money and the time and the people to make Outer Worlds a fantastic game. And if they've got Outer Worlds 2 and whatever the next Fallout game is going to be, I think they're going to be in a really, really strong position. Okay, so now we get to number 1 on my list, and it's a cross-gen, cross-platform game. It's coming out on Xbox and PS5. And anyone that's familiar with my channel, this is probably no surprise, Elden Ring. Like, it's not the most next-gen looking game. As I said, it's cross-gen, but I just love From Software games. It's coming out early next year as well. It's another reason it's top of my list, because we haven't actually got long to wait, January of next year. So yeah, that'll soon come round. And I love From Software. I just love their games. Sekiro, Dark Souls, Bloodborne. They're just brilliant. In my opinion, it's brilliant games. I know they're not for everybody, but for me, Elden Ring being top of my list is an absolute no-brainer. We've got a nice gameplay trailer as well. Now, I'm not going to say anything more about it because I've got a separate video on that where I talk about it. You know, I did my reaction to the trailer, the gameplay trailer. Now, I did miss a couple of things in the trailer. I didn't notice that the horse can actually double jump. Yeah, so I did miss that. Looks like you can actually fight people on horseback, but apparently that's just only in certain sections of the game. But yeah, you know, I talk a lot more about Elden Ring in the separate video, so if you're interested, check that out. So those are the games that really got me excited. You know, have I missed something that you are really looking forward to? If I have, I'll be pleased to hear about it in the comments below. Now, most of the games in this list are really sort of Xbox. The reason for that is Sony just don't really participate in E3 anymore. They do their own thing. And I imagine that Sony are going to do a presentation sometime soon, showing off everything they've got to show. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I really thought that Bethesda and Microsoft, they really stole the show at E3 this year with their presentation. Nintendo had a few things, but, you know, apart from Zelda, that was really the main thing for me. Ubisoft, I'm not really that into Far Cry or anything like that, so, you know, I wasn't too bothered about the Ubisoft presentation. Nothing really stood out to me. But if you're into Far Cry, obviously the new Far Cry is going to be on your list. Capcom didn't really have anything to show. You know, obviously they've just put Resident Evil 8 out, which looks fantastic. They did announce some DLC for Resident Evil 8. They didn't show anything though, and of course it was a dead cert anyway. They always put out DLC for their Resident Evil main entries. But I'm still want to see what they come up with at some point. Still interested. But these were just my top 7 picks. There's absolutely loads and loads of games there. So I think it was a good E3. There's lots of stuff was shown, and of course, Starfield and Elden Ring. I think they stole the show, those 2 games. But the thing I enjoyed the most about the whole thing was the Outer Worlds 2 trailer. They just It made me laugh. It was so good. I just want to see that again and again. It's so funny. And if they bring that sense of humour to the Outer Worlds 2 game, I think it's going to be great fun. I think we need more games that don't take themselves too seriously, have more fun. I mean, Borderlands 3 humour, for me, didn't quite hit the mark. But yeah, maybe Obsidian can pull it off with Outer Worlds 2. Okay, so thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, a thumbs up would be appreciated. And goodbye for now.